everybody. Welcome back. YouTube.com/Geek Aloud. It is Gaming Enforcement Agencies, of course, every Monday night, each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. this week, plus about 24 hours. And Steve is joining me via Discord. Steve, on duty, sir. How are you this week?
Mate, I'm very well. Finally on duty. Only a little bit late, but that's okay, mate. All good things come to those who wait.
Yes, indeed. You're never late. We arrive precisely when we mean to, I think, as it goes. That's right. Yeah, for those first joining us, let me tell you how this game here goes. First off, game, interrogation, and deliberation. Tonight, Steve and I are kicking down 5 doors. That's right. 5 doors will be kicked down by the Gaming Enforcement Agency, and we'll see all the kind of perpetrators hiding within. We'll tell you all about them and what they've been up to. Then, of course, we kick down everyone's favourite door. That is the newsroom door. Newsreaders scream, papers go in the air, people run out, and then we talk about the news. What's been happening in video game lands. And then, number 3 is the standoff. That's right. Some of our favourite things stand off against our other favourite things, and we pick a winner. Steve, tonight, tell me things. Who is standing off with whom?
Hey, tonight we've got a crazy one, Troy. We're going best open world game that also has a horse or horse-like animal you can ride and is also third person.
My goodness, that is quite the set of constraints. You heard it here first, though, folks. Put your thinking caps on. Drop your questions in if you can think of one already, a quirky one we might have thought of. Go ahead and drop it in there. But then, after the standoff, we have audience interrogation. That's right. We kick in your door. We come straight through the YouTube browser and we say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What do you know about video games? Tell us things. And then we have a chat to you. It's very friendly, in fact. It's the friendliest interrogation this side of I don't even know where. But tonight, first starting game interrogation. It's this button. Game 1, Steve. It's Elden Ring. Of course it's Elden Ring. This year's game of the year in my list. It's sitting head and shoulders above everything else. Steve, how's it doing on your list?
Yeah, mate, it's probably up there as well. I mean, it's the game I've put probably the most time into this year so far, sitting at around sort of 59-ish hours, I think is where I'm at the moment.
Yes.
But yeah, it continues to dominate the playtime in this household. Like even today with the next game coming up, G.E.A. 5 remaster, which I had come home.
Oh, spoilers!
Spoilers. I still decided to line up Elden Ring and knock out a couple of the very hard side quests. So that's what I did before GTA 5. But I was very happy with what I did with my Elden Ring because I managed to unlock some pretty cool gear and a very cool sword. So
nice.
That was hard work, especially with Elden Ring, which doesn't give you quest markers or any idea of what to do. And you may or may not have to look up a few wikis here and there to get it done, but you get it done.
My God, I play the whole game with my laptop open. Oh, Steve, it's my new favourite game. When I'm not at the, PS5 playing Elden Ring, I'm mapping out my next journey on my phone. There's a fantastic app that I have to recommend. Now, this is on Android. I've got no idea if it's on iOS. Good luck, you're on your own there. But it's called... It's just called Elden Ring, but it's by Map Genie. That's what I'm looking for. Elden Ring by Map Genie. Now, that is the funnest thing you can do because they've used the Google Maps interface and they've put Elden Ring in there with all the locations and the various bits. So you can plan your next journey, Steve. So you can be away from the game, but I'm going to start here and I'm going to travel to this point and I'm going to pick up one of those. Then I do that. It's a lot of fun. It's the best game to play where you're not playing Elden Ring, planning your next voyage. Have you done any of this yourself, Steve?
Not quite. Like I usually just look up a brief description about where I need to go, and then I sort of let the adventure take hold of myself and sort of try and figure out my own way. So I sort of know where the destination is. I just don't know what the destination is going to be. So I know usually generally my end location, but then I sort of use that, the part from point A to point B to sort of have my own discoveries and figure out where I need to be. And occasionally I might get a little bit lost and might have to go back and do a little bit of fact checking about where I need to go. But most of the time I can figure it out, and just that satisfaction of discovery is just like it's like nothing else that I've played in games sort of recently when it comes to these sort of open world games, because obviously we're all used to following track markers and points on a map just to go to, and you get used to that a lot. Like you do open your map a lot in Elden Ring,
yes,
but it's to set your own markers and to set your own place you want to go and look at sort of different things that happen. Go, I know what that could be, and just sort of heading off in that direction and finding what might be there. So
yes, Steve, can I ask you, have you seen this footage, and does this castle at all ring a bell to you? The footage we've been watching of me playing from, I think this was last Friday, 10 a.m s. We do live Let's Plays here. This is last Friday's
I would love
Castle.
to tell you, but I'm having a lot of trouble trying to actually connect to our live stream at the moment, so I don't know why that is not working for me.
That's a concern.
To make sure we're streaming. I'm pretty sure we are.
Yeah, no, I've got green lights across the board. We are definitely streaming rock solid from my side, mate.
Good. It might be an issue with my issue, but I can't tell you
local issue.
If you could describe it really, really in depth.
Yeah, sure. So wait, first off, let me establish this. Would it be fair to say, ignoring the flip of the map, Steve, is it fair to say that, you know, the Elden Ring takes place in 3 acts? Act 1 is that bottom, I don't know, remember the name of it, but like normal area starting and the red area, and then zone 2 is like that big flooded lake area over on the west, and then Act 3 is the northern like ice realms. Would that be a fair assertion?
Yeah. I reckon that's a fair assertion. Obviously, yeah, you can. It's hard to say because
I know. There's so many ins and outs. It's so open.
Yeah, like Lingrave, I believe that Lingrave's the first biome, definitely that whole sort of green area at the start. Then I sort of went left and up, and you sort of went right and across. So you went sort of lavery, devil area, and I sort of went the more bluish sort of magical area first. So I don't know which one technically is biome 2 or boss 2, but yeah, I don't know. I think either way, it seemed to work for me. Like,
this
has seemed to be one of the hardest bosses I've fought so far.
Oh man, you've sent me some great ones. Well, this the footage we're watching currently is in what we'll call the Act 2 region. You know, the flooded lake region, and it's right at the north, I believe. I'm so sure it's right at the north, and it's like this one on the map. It looks like the one green alcovey nice bit, but when you get there, it's actually toxic acid cloud. There's nothing green and pleasant about it.
I've got the stream up now. You're standing in front of a yellow boss door, and I absolutely destroyed this boss.
Oh yes, mate. I think it was 3 or 4 attempts. You see me here I just get eaten left, right, and center, and then the 4th time out of nowhere, bam! It's game over, victory to me. It's beautiful. I'm hoping we get there. But this castle here, what I wanted to point out to the viewers here, you don't see it on the footage, but in order to get there, for me now, obviously it's an open world and there's multiple ways, but for me, there was a sign on the ground behind a site of grace that just said, "Look carefully behind." And then I stepped aside, and behind a tree was this, like, just the top point of a rock that if you jumped off your horse and did your double jump, you could land on that rock and then, like, parkour your way down on your horse to get into this castle. One of the best side quests ever, totally hidden. It was exactly 1 hour play, Steve, because it was the one stream I did. But it was learn the castle, get the get the layout, understand all the different guys, the different types of attacks you're going to be dealing with, unlock those side of grace, get to the end boss, finish the end boss, 1 hour dungeon, one and done. This is game of the year, man. That was just one experience. And I've played 80 hours. I know you said you're at 60. I'm at 80 hours. And it was just it's a perfect game session, and it's just hour after hour of perfect little encounter somewhere else, you know, different environmental setting, but different swords, different spells, different enemies, different magic. This game is just constantly unique, constantly turning different corners. And Steve, I'm just at the end of Act 2 now. I haven't even gotten into the frozen north area, and I need your help, my friend. I am stuck on a boss fight, and I bet you can tell me the name of him. Over to you. What's your week been like?
It's been quite good. I mean, I sort of got to the ice area and did a couple of things there, but then I did detour and go after the Rani quest and the Blade quest, which is the Blade guy is the guy that wears the wolf sort of helmet and all that kind of stuff. And he's got a massive long quest, and then you've got to finish Rani, who's the chick at the start of the game that gives you the wolves with the big giant hat, magical hat.
Yes.
So you find her up in her own tower, and she gives you this quest to sort of find a whole bunch of stuff, and it's got a lot of stuff to do with the boss fight that you have, that where all those shooting stars come down at the end of it, the one we did together.
Yes.
So once you beat Radahn, then you got to go to where that crater fell, which I think you've already been to. So you end up in the underground again, in like this palace area with ants and people riding ants and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then you go down into a rot swamp, and then you fight like the red invader version of Blade, and then you fight this other like incredibly huge boss. And like I have to give them props for their boss design and just enemy design in general, because everywhere you turn there is just a creative new enemy design, and even there's even just small tweaks to just other enemies that just keep things fresh all the time. And this boss,
sorry, can I just say on that one, Steve, just the fact that some of the corpses will spew maggots, like out of nowhere. 80 hours in, I come across a new just low level guy, and he just spews maggots. Just new ways to gross you out, left, right, and center. Sorry, mate. As you were saying.
That's fine. Just this boss today that I fought, I walked into this arena, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm supposed to fight this guy. I mean, I rushed at him and then used some of my magic sword stuff. Sean in the chat does say, where does Troy get that magic sword he was using?
I've been meaning to compile something for that. Sean, I apologize. That totally slipped out of my head. Steve, please give us the long, painful backstory of that sword, please.
It is in the what's it called? The Carrier Palace or whatever it is, the Carnier Palace, whatever.
Kanye West Palace.
Yeah, it's one of those. So it's interesting, easy. You can pick it up easy in a chest, and then it's just there. You just got to know where to look. So just YouTube it if you don't want to go looking for hours, because it's much easier to find it that way. But it's pretty easy to find, and once you get it, you just need to sort of locate all the materials you need to upgrade it to level 10. Actually, that's what I want to ask. Are you at level 10 with that sword?
No, I'm not, because I haven't got to the Frozen North. I think when I get into the North, I can get upgrade 7, whatever smithing stone. I think 7, 8, 9, 10 are all in the North. So I'm capped at 7 for both the sword and my wolves. I'm trying to break North, and that's where I'm stuck at. I need your help. We need to work out when we're streaming together again so I can get to the North, Steve.
That's all right. Yeah, we could do that with you. And I've just taken out a giant glintstone, like a great glintstone dragon as well. Remember we tried to fight that glintstone dragon?
Yes.
Destroyed us. I've fought a great version of that now and beat him solo. So I should be able to help you, I think, up in the upper north there. So no, I've been
excellent.
I just can't get enough of this game. Like, it's even playing G.E.A. 5 as much as I'm enjoying it. I just want to be pulled back into Elden Ring, and now that I've done those side quests, I could just want to go back to previous explored areas and just go deeper, because I know I'm going to find dungeons. I know I'm going to find hidden bosses, and Troy. I'm going to say it. I'm almost thinking I'm going to go for the platinum.
I love the commitment, Steve. Go, man, go. You've got my full support in the endeavour. I love the plan. I am so far from mastering this game, I can't commit to it yet. I'm not sure I'll ever have the dexterity required to pull off platinum in this game myself, but I can totally see it there for you, Steve, mate. Go, I say, mate, go.
We'll give it a go. Now I've got this big great sword thing. I'm not so sure if it's better than the sword we're rocking at the moment, but it's definitely got some potential with the video I think I sent you earlier, if you've managed to see it with its
I did.
magic attacks.
What I'm going to say about this sword, Steve, though, you've got the flame attack, you've got the magic attack, but then if you combine that, I don't know if you've purchased it yet, the dragon attack, the rot breath. From one of the dragons. If you combine the rot breath with the magic or arcane and flame attack of this sword, there is no enemy I can't attack with one of those 3. It's perfect. It's the perfect setup.
That's what this game does. And that's what we're rocking at the moment. But the amount of options to any player, how you want to play. You've got weapons that do blood damage or blood rot damage. You've got weapons that do magical damage. You've got people that just build magic builds, and that's all they have. Whereas you have found this sort of a nice blend between melee and magic with this sword. But there's
it's so good
options to fight, and you can one-shot bosses. I'm getting very close to having the Azure Comet spell, which apparently can just one-shot bosses straight away. But you need level 60 intelligence, and I'm currently sitting, I think, level 54 intelligence.
Oh my goodness!
So I'm working my way up. I haven't done any grinding for a while. I've just sort of been using my experience from defeating all these bosses that give you, by the time you're beating some of the bosses I'm beating, you're getting 60,000 to 80,000 runes per win. So,
oh wow, that's huge. What's the level up for you at the minute?
That's a good. I think it's around 115,000 runes.
Yeah, I'm sitting just over 100 myself. Yeah, somewhere around there.
So that probably checks out with my level of being probably just about 10 above you. So
10 above me. Oh, speaking of, I can put the stats up. Here we go, everyone. Here is Steve's current play stats. And excuse me while I get up there and have a look. Steve is 138, 60 hours. Call it level 138, 60 hours. And rocking, what's that helmet you've got on, the wolf helmet? What's it called there, Steve?
That is Blade's, whatever his name is, Blade the Hunter, whatever his name is in the game's helmet you get once you finish his quest line. You get all his outfit. It's actually not as powerful as some of the stuff I've already unlocked, but it does look really cool.
It looks awesome. Compared to mine, here we go. Have a look at my fantastic new witch's wizard's hat. I'm right there at the, I'm trying to get to the northern ground, and you unlock that whole witch's, it's not a witch, I'm blanking on the name now, but it's not confessor either, and it's not wizard, but it's someone's whole get up at the castle, where you climb the dragon that's crashed into the castle, Steve, and you're trying to get north.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
The volcano. Have you been to Volcano Castle, whatever it's called, yet?
Volcano Castle?
No, I'm going to guess you haven't. It's actually really hard to get to from what I found. But you end up on these quests where you've actually got to go invade 3 different NPCs' games, and then when you come back, they actually bestow upon you the ability to go meet with their lord or / leader, and then the meeting with them is that giant snake thing that I showed you.
Oh, yes, okay.
And they do give you a special sword to fight him at the start, which is a level 1 sword, but might I recommend using that sword because magic was useless against this thing. And I just decided just to pump some fire, or whatever it's called, fire talisman that allows you to stand in lava, and I just stood right up close to him and just slashed with his sword and managed to get the win. So
very nice.
When you eventually get there, but I can't speak more highly of this game. I can't see many games beating it for Game of the Year at this point in terms of what it's doing on all accounts in terms of, emergent storytelling and gameplay being king, which is exactly what this game is. Like, if you just want gameplay, you jump into this game, you're getting gameplay, from the start. There's no fussing around with cutscenes or long dialogue, nothing like that. You're just straight into the fun no matter where you go in this world, and everywhere you go is just so beautiful, different. And, it's just, I can't say much more nice things about this game.
I absolutely love it as well, man. And once again, I'll reiterate, a very fun game for the times you can't be on your console playing Elden Ring, to just poke around and, imagine your next, because I imagine it like it's my next holiday, Oh, where am I going to go sightseeing? I want to make sure I see the cliffs up north. I love planning my route like this on an atlas when I'm nowhere near the game. Highly recommend it. But that's it for Elden Ring this week. Game 2, everyone. Game 2. Grand Theft Auto 5, you've come back into my heart. Welcome. It's been a long time, but you're looking a little bit creepy, I want to say. Steve, what's your take on the character models? Are they highly detailed yet slightly awkwardly zombie, creepy, dead-eyed?
So a little bit. There's a bit of uncanny valley about some of the stuff because I think, going with the older models of the game now, which let's put in perspective, the game is from 2013 initially. So
it's brilliant.
Getting this game, the fact that the game looks as good as it does at this day and age, and it still looks better than a lot of open world games out there, which is definitely because this game being out this long, surely someone's come up with something better than this. But playing this game in 60 frames per second is an absolute game changer. I don't know why any crazy person would put this on fidelity mode.
No.
Photo modes and stuff like that. But as soon as, mate, that ray tracing performance mode in this is beautiful. Driving around these cars, I'm like, I don't know why I want to go back to Forza, because Forza just drives cars. But the handling of these cars just feels awesome. And I don't know whether it's got something to do with the DualSense.
That DualSense, yes. Pump the brakes on that. Yes. Phenomenal implementation. Once again, not worth the price of admission for the old man hands, but I did treat myself. I put it up to strong, I believe it's called, and the implementation of the DualSense in this game is phenomenal. It's one of those, if it's your first time showing someone a PlayStation 5, they've never seen it before, give them Grand Theft Auto 5 to show off the DualSense. It's that good in there. Sorry, Steve, back to you.
No, and just sort of going on that, it's not even just the driving. I was driving today, and if you're driving across bumpy parts in the road, if you sort of roll your wheels to the right, you'll feel that bump in your right side of your controller. Then you'll feel it in the left if you move the car over. And then not only that, the controller makes a different vibration depending on what sort of surface you're on. So if you're on gravel, it's feeling a bit softer under the hands, and if you're on a road, it's much smoother, but you still get that feedback. It's just they've done some masterful stuff there.
They really have.
When you're shooting guns, you're pulling the trigger, you're feeling it like it's in the left trigger when you're aiming down sights. You feel the pulsing of the gun when you shoot with the right trigger. But it's not egregious. Some games I think overdo it, whereas this game.
Yes, well stated. Yes.
So, and it's not even just the haptic feedbacks. The sound coming through the controller. Normally,
great call.
In this game, if you don't have your controller blaring, because it's really loud when I first had it set on, but I got involved in a police chase just when I first opened the game, and the police sirens coming through, the police radio calls coming through the controller, just sort of added that extra immersion, and it just made my palms put a bit more. It was just more exciting with it all sort of feeling upfront and personal. These radios are coming through my controller, I'm driving the car. It just sort of, it just heightened everything. And
Steve, can I ask you right on that point, at the start when you first, I'm blanking on their names now, Lamar and Franklin. When Lamar and Franklin are taking the first two cars right after you've asked Michael on the beach, where's the house? And then you take the red or the white car and you drive off. Did you play that mission?
Now, Troy, I'm going to answer this question by saying something else that was awesome with this game. So I didn't actually start from the start as I'd actually thought I'd planned or was going to do. I've always played G.E.A. on Xbox, but I knew they were doing some kind of transfer save file thing, and I thought maybe it was just console exclusive, but I jumped on my G.E.A. 5 on Xbox yesterday and uploaded it to the Rockstar account. When I loaded up PlayStation today, I could bring that save from that G.E.A. across to PS5.
How interesting. I haven't done it, man, but maybe I should. I just started playing from the start, fresh game.
And you know what else is good, Troy? All those achievements you earn on Xbox pop trophies as soon as you do it.
Nice. I wonder, I'm going to have to check which one I did better on then and progress forward, because I played PS4 and Xbox One independently. I have independent save files. I'll need to work out which has got the most for moving forward. But sorry, Steve, jumping back to the two cars, the reason I was asking about that quest, specifically about the DualSense with the speaker and the microphone, they had it so when you were jumping into the cars, Lamar's voice was coming out the speakers around you, and then you dial him on the phone and it's coming in through the speakers externally and through your DualSense. But then when he drives off down the street, you lose him from the surround speakers and he only comes out of your controller. It's phenomenal. It's the most immersive audio thing I've seen in a game to date. It was just hands down the best. So good.
I agree. I've had very similar moments with the phone coming from the speaker, and I think that's worth it for price of admission alone for the PS5 version. Like, I was going to go Xbox all the way in terms of hard drive space. It's where I'd played all my game. I was willing to start the game from scratch just to play on the PS5 with the haptic feedback. So I'm kind of glad I did it, and especially now with having the save transfer come across. Like, I've got the best of both worlds.
But you didn't even mention the price, Steve. How is it twice the price on Xbox? What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like $30 on Xbox, 15 on PlayStation 5, and it makes no sense why it would be more expensive on Xbox.
It's so bizarre.
I feel like has been heavily PlayStation as well.
Yeah.
So maybe it was the lead platform for this sort of, I'm not hesitant to call it a remaster, upscaling version for PS5. I don't know, but in terms of open world games, like I can't see myself needing another one until GTA 6 comes out to get that fix of what I want. Like, even something like Cyberpunk I could jump into with the haptic feedback and stuff, but I think I prefer just jumping into GTA's world, and I even dabbled in the online for the first time as well. I shouldn't say the first time. The first time I jumped in online was when the game first came out, and I remember being stuck in a lobby for maybe 45 minutes with awkward characters just appearing on the screen, and then not actually being able to get into the game at all for about 3 months until the game got absolutely fixed. But
I remember those times. The good old days.
So jumping into this online experience, it was actually really good. Onboards you really well. You get $4 million to spend straight out off the bat. You can pick what you want to be. You can be like I went with gun runner, but you can be like a biker or a casino owner type boss guy, or there's something else I'm forgetting. But you can pick one of those classes, and it sort of picks on your weapons, and you get to buy a car and a base and all that kind of stuff as well. So it kind of onboards you really nicely, and then gives you sort of little campaign-y stuff to do at the start to set up your boss. And I've finally just hit the open world part now, where I'm out doing tasks with other people and getting ganked by players that are just assholes and want to kill me just for. I'm in my map and I just get sniped by some dude. And
that sounds right. Now that's GTA Online.
It is. But I did jump into a cool game was called Sasquatch, which is, I think you all get in a giant 4x4 like monster truck, and you got to go destroy all these cars around the city, and that was good fun driving around. So I could see myself sort of sinking some time into this, especially if you're willing to jump on and players willing to jump on and create a crew and do some of these heists. I think they could be quite fun. So, and the fact that now we're actually running on a decent looking game that runs at 60 frames per second, I am all in for sort of giving this a go.
Yeah, mate. The big question for me is I don't know whether I'm going to restore my save tomorrow and crank out a video, which probably is what I should do. But part of me wants to just play this from start for the 5th time, Steve, and enjoy the story one more time, because as creepy as some of the character models can look, you're right, it's the best GTA ever made, and it's the best that GTA has ever looked. So I love that it's here now. I tell you, coming at the same time as Elden Ring's a bit unfortunate. I don't really have room on my plate for it right now, because, oh my God, Elden Ring. But This game does look and play phenomenal. As we said, $15 on PlayStation 5, half the price of Xbox. Don't know what's going on there. But if you like the old game, it's the best looking version of it. I'm a big fan. And those radio stations are still phenomenal. Steve, today while I was editing in the studio and just doing some things in here, I left G.E.A 5 running and just had my guy standing in ammunition listening to the radio station play and the banter by the guy behind the counter. It was phenomenal. The atmosphere in that game, stand still anywhere in that city, great atmosphere. God, I love G.E.A 5.
Mate, so just remember, if you don't want to replay the game from the start, you can do those replay missions as well if you want to get that feeling of playing the game again. So you don't have to feel too bad about putting your old save across there, especially if you want to pop those trophies a bit easier.
You know I do, Steve. You know I do. All right.
I know you do.
Game number 3 for this evening, Olli World. Now, the code for this for me, for the install video was provided by the developer. Thank you very much. But Steve, you paid for it yourself and you're playing it on Switch, as I understand.
I am playing on Switch. I just saw this game and I thought, it's one of those games that you don't really need the graphical fidelity because of its art style. And I thought it's going to just as well on Switch anyway. And it's the perfect handheld game as well.
Yes.
I don't need to play this on my 77-inch TV. If I want to, I can, because the Switch will still do that. And it's not going to look terrible just given this art style. But I've only played this game in sort of the handheld mode recently on the Switch OLED. And I was trying to teach my son to play it yesterday. And you'd think it'd be easy to teach your son to just tap A couple of times, hold down, and just let go, jump up a thing. But it is the epitome of easy to learn, hard to master this game.
Wait, can I just say, it's not easy for everyone to learn, Steve. I still have to fight the urge to push up on an Ollie. And if you, crouch down with the left stick and let go, he Ollies perfectly. But if you crouch down and then push up, you're going to stack, which is what I have to keep fighting. Sorry, back to you.
Oh, no, it's so true, though. This is the Dark Souls of... No, I'm not.
The Dark Souls of Troy needing to concentrate on his thumbs. Sorry, go.
That's right. You do kind of have bonfires in it because you've got those little genie sort of checkpoints you have to hit. And it's nice seeing those. The little fella was happy when he hit a genie because he didn't have to do that bit that he tried 50 times to do Ollie up a staircase.
Yes.
But admittedly, taking the controller out of his hands and putting it into my hands, some of these levels are difficult. You've really got to sort of be on and concentrating when it comes to the jumps and stuff you've got to do, especially when it comes to switching into the 3D space on the 2D plane. And it can get very difficult. I don't really enjoy the whole story thing that's going on and the characters that just sort of spit out unfunny dialogue.
Does it look to you exactly did you play it all? And I only ask because it's on Game Pass and my boys play it constantly. Adventure Time? As I understand, it's a Nickelodeon cartoon, but I know nothing about the cartoon. I only know the Game Pass game, and it looks exactly like this.
It does. No, it does very much look like it is almost identical art style. So it'll appeal to a lot of people. The character creator, I think, is actually not bad, and you've got a lot of stuff you can unlock, which
very diverse.
A lot of options, which my little fella, doesn't matter what the game is, all he ever wants to do is create a character and dress in clothes. So.
Yes, my boys as well, man. They'll spend a good 45 minutes just in Fortnite just setting up one of those slots. They just absolutely love it. So, it speaks to that new generation of gamers.
I reckon we could just create a game that's called Character Creator, and
definitely
we could probably just make some money off that because a lot of the time,
definitely could.
I was set him up in Watch Dogs. All he wants to do is spend my money and buy outfits. I'm hesitant to give him G.E.A to play. Well, I don't have to worry about it because he's not going to go kill anyone because he's going to be too busy setting up his outfit.
Exactly.
So no, it's a fun little game, and I reckon it's the ideal Switch game personally. If you're going to get it on a console and you've got a Switch, I reckon pick this up. I don't know if it's too cheap. I think I remember paying $39 maybe on the Switch.
I'm pretty sure it was $40 on their Xbox. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'd have to check.
So that checks out. I think it's got Game Pass written all over it eventually. So maybe if you've got an Xbox sort of hold out, you'll probably get this game for free pretty soon, I imagine.
I could definitely see that as well. The one thing I'll say about it, man, is for me, I only need one of these in my life at a time. I absolutely need one, but right now the hole that's being filled by precise button inputs is Sifu. I would have to put down Sifu trying to master its button combination to even try to begin to wrap my head around the Tony Hawk's level of 3 million different tricks that are on offer through the left thumbstick flickage within Olli World. It's a fantastic game, but I'd need to clear my plate from the Sifu, I think, to get into it, so I'm not quite ready for it yet.
No, we can't be clearing that secret plate, mate. We've still got to get you that the elusive victory and see.
We've got to get you into the studio, Steve. Come on back.
I know. Are you still? No, I know we're not talking about seafood tonight, but are you still in level 2?
I'm still stuck in the club. Yes, definitely.
Oh, mate, I could get you through the club with my hands tied behind my back and my eyes blindfolded.
Now that's a YouTube video. Everybody, keep your eyes peeled on Geek Aloud. Upcoming, Steve beating Sifu blindfolded, hands tied behind his back. This is going to be an amazing video.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. It's going to be great. Speaking of great, Steve, assuming you're done with Game 3.
Yeah, we're done with Game 3. If you want a cute little game, wait for Game Pass. But don't spend $40 on it. It is fun, but it's probably better off when it's cheaper.
A lot of fun on the PlayStation 4. I've got a technical issue on the PlayStation 5 where I can't play it through my capture card. I can play it without the capture card, but not with the capture card. So I'm not even checking it out on the PlayStation 5 just yet. I'm hoping for a patch. So patch me, Olli World, and then we'll talk some more. But Game 4 for this evening, Wordle. Steve, over to you, because I know nothing about Wordle, but here it is, Wordle with Steve.
Right, Wordle has taken the world by storm, so I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. It's a simple word game with like 5 letters. I'm trying to think of the old game you used to play where you had to get the colours or something in a row.
Was it not Risk? No. Minesweeper. Minesweeper?
Yes, maybe like Minesweeper. No, not Minesweeper. It's what is it called? I'm not going to be able to pick it now.
I'm so picturing it though, but yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, I know the one. So what it is, it's a pretty simple game where you've got a word of the day and you put your letters in. As you can see on screen, he's gone a rise. So A is obviously in the right spot, being green. E is in the word, but it's in the wrong spot.
Sure.
So you keep going. You've got 6 guesses or whatever it is, 7 guesses to get the word. So obviously you're going to be RIS are no longer in the word. So that's essentially what you're trying to do. And you get one of these a day, and it'll.
Wait, can I ask you on that? Is it one for everybody worldwide? Like, does everybody have the same Wordle today?
Yep, it's the same word. So obviously there's spoilers online, so you try and do it without that, but you're trying to get it as least as possible. So today I managed to do my Wordle in 3 guesses. I got very lucky with my first guess, which gave me the first 3 letters of the word in green. So what happened was the final 2. My second guess gave me the second last letter, but in the wrong spot, and then it gave me my word pretty easily in the third one. But
nice.
But you can get some hard ones. The other day we had the final answer was actually watch, but I had ATCH, but I went with match, catch, latch, and didn't get watch. So I unfortunately didn't get the Wordle for that day. That was the only time I haven't got it in my 20 games I've now played. So it ruined my streak that I had.
Oh, no. What was the streak at, sorry, before that broke it?
I think my streak was 20.
Oh, how frustrating!
So it's a good little game. You don't have to think about it too much, but it is the only game I've played every day in the last week. Like
other than Elden Ring.
Every day.
Oh no! Look how cute! Go. That's it. Hand your badge in. You're done. If you haven't played Elden Ring every day since it's been released, you're done.
Wordle is game of the year.
Now, Steve, tell me, Wordle, as I understand it, only available in a web browser, is it?
Yeah, it's a web browser. So it was actually initially created by a bloke whose surname was Wardle. He made the game for his wife, just for something to do. I think she was in hospital or something like that. So he just made this little game, and then it just absolutely blew up. And then the New York Times ended up purchasing it for a lot of money.
Right.
And it's now run through New York Times, just website. But that website, it obviously just tracks your IP address or whatever. So whenever you just click, you just Google Wordle and just start playing, and then that's your first game you've played, and it'll keep tracking your progress. So you don't have to think about it. It's one word a day. You do your word, you're done. You challenge your friends, you challenge your wife, whatever. Say, have you done your Wordle today? And see if they can get it in. It's a very competitive thing, trying to see like who gets the Wordle in the most or the least amount of tries. So I really enjoy my time with this. And if you really like Wordle and you get into it, there's also another one called Loodle, which is all about rude words. That can get quite fun as well, because you actually have to guess with rude words as well. So it's quite eye-opening as to how many words you actually learn.
Can you see like a replay of somebody trying all their different rude words? I can see that being a bit of fun.
Nah, I think you can, but you should see some of my. I've got some screenshots of some of my littles, and it gets quite funny sometimes. It's no, Wordle, just like I can say, it's easy to play. Like it's free to play. Like no money fork out. Just jump on Wordle. It's so easy to do, and it's so much fun, and it creates a lot of conversation in the workplace or at home. So just get on it, Troy. You got to do it. Get the wife involved. Even get the kids involved on Wordle, mate.
Oh, that's a good one. If we could get my kids involved and it was a spelling game, now you've piqued my parenting interests.
Yes, because they have to use actual words, so it'll tell them whether a word is an actual word, and they've all 5 letters. So
yes,
it's not too
perfect.
Hard, but we'll call it educational. There you go, Troy. It's educational.
Educational. I'll tell you what isn't Game 7. No, Game 5. Game 5. Gran Turismo 7. Steve, I got to say, this was a very weird and awkward trip down memory lane. Do you remember PlayStation Home from like 2013? I know it came up a few episodes back as well. I was discussing maybe to be back in VR land.
I do remember that discussion, yes.
I got to tell you, mate, Gran Turismo 7, all of it feels like it was stuck back in 2013. Visuals aside, now, it looks modern. The controls, the integration with the DualSense 5, phenomenal. They've done great stuff there. But everything about the menu system, the way the game unfolds, the way they present new bits of information to you, it is all so heavily menu-based. It is so dated. It's bizarre to me that this game came out this year. It feels like such a 10-year-old relic. It's bizarre to me. And coincidentally, the major complaint I've been reading online is that there's no modern car models in there either. They're saying like the Teslas from 2012 itself, a 10-year-old relic. So it's bizarre to me. Like the handling's great, the game's great when you're in there, but as you can see now up on screen, these are the menus. And if you compare it to, I would say Forza is the obvious comparison point on the, Series X running natively on there. I would say when you're in the car, when you're actually racing, they are very similar visual treat to look at. DualSense 5 obviously feels fantastic. Well, once again, I can't afford to play it always cranked up to the max, but when you've got the strength of the triggers and the rumble and everything, the DualSense, when you've got it cranked up to the max, it is a real treat on the hands. Steve, like we were saying with the speaker in GTA 5, the way they've integrated the sounds in that speaker with your surround sound and the car noises and everything is phenomenal. It looks a visual treat when you're in the world, mate, but everything out of the menu system, everything out of the game world, when you're in their menu system, I'm just constantly asking myself, why aren't I playing Forza 5? It's Forza Horizon 5. It's everything about this feels dated and archaic, and I just want to be in the modern, fresh, living world of Horizon, whereas this feels so very static and stale. It's so dated. It's really bizarre to me, but it looks phenomenal.
Question for you.
Yes.
If you had to vote 2 games for worst nag screens / menus, would you go Deathloop or Gran Turismo 5?
No question, Deathloop. Gran Turismo's is very dated, but incredibly functional. I can get where I want to go, and it always makes sense. Oh, yeah, I want to go to my garage to change cars. I want to go back here. The one thing they've added to try and modernize it is this concept of I think they call it the Gran Turismo Cafe. It's definitely called the Cafe. I believe it's the Gran Turismo Cafe. And it's their idea or attempt at a single-player story. Now, in Forza Horizon, where they're talking you over the PA constantly and, hey, come here and try this, and we've got this new explosion, and then this big airplane just came in, and try and race it and have fun. Whereas this is like, click on the cafe icon, and then a little thumbnail image of the guy who runs the cafe comes up, and then you read his text underneath it as he invites you to try out these 3 different cars that are somehow related, and then you click through the menus, and then you're in the world, and then you race the car. It's so dated, man. I really can't understand how this game and Horizon came out and they are of the same generation and a direct comparison point for each other. It's night and day, man. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and the problem I think they're going to have, at the moment they do stand alone being a simulator, so I think you're hardcore racing fans that like to tweak cars, like to tweak wheels, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
This game at the moment.
Yes, that's a great point. Great point, yes.
I'd say, but you've got Forza Motorsport is also due to come out, early next year?
Yes.
Maybe later this year, even though we haven't seen anything. I think we may actually see something on that later this year, maybe E3 time, and we may get Forza Motorsport by the end. I feel like that's going to be more contemporary and more user-friendly than something like Gran Turismo, which does have its hardcore fan base, and that's where it's going to sell. And I have heard a lot of people say once you get into the sort of the flow of Gran Turismo, it can be fun. Like, I always enjoyed the licenses and the onboarding it gives you to sort of learn how to race and learn about cars and all the mechanics.
And all that, Steve, all that is exactly as you remember it, menu for menu screen. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. So I can see that if that's your bag, like for me, racing games, like I'm a Mario Kart fan, so which is why something like Forza Horizon sort of speaks to me. It's more fun. It's got that exhilarating stuff that racing's all about. Like, I don't really care whether my engine is tweaked to its,
Oh, sorry, Steve. Let me just jump in here just for 1 sec. On screen, just here, you're seeing I've just went in to the cafe. This is now inside that cafe menu, and this is me getting the reward. And right there is the picture of old mate, and his text that you need to read comes up under him. It's very bizarre. Sorry, Steve. Back to you.
That's right. Some lovely looking, amazing cars to drive you've got there as well. They look really fun to drive through. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have any inkling to play this game unless it goes real cheap at some point. I might give it a go just to sort of check out some of that in-car stuff. But, I mean, I'm playing plenty of games that look really good on my consoles anyway. It's not like this is toting the best graphics of a car game. And if it did that, then maybe that would be worth price of admission just to see those, immersive graphics or whatever. But from what I hear, it's a good-looking game, but it's not going to blow you away.
Yeah, it seriously makes, it is on par with Forza Horizon 5. And as you know, mate, when you add the steering wheel to it and you crank those steering wheel settings up to simulation, even though it's called Forza Horizon, it's damn near a simulator itself. I would argue it stands shoulder to shoulder with Gran Turismo 7. When you've got the steering wheel and you've put it up to all the professional levels, I say it's damn near a simulator as well. And I got to say, minute for minute gameplay, put me in Forza any day of the week over Gran Turismo 5.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that. I have been in the studio with that steering wheel, with all the settings turned down or turned off or whatever. And it created such an awesome driving experience that I would much prefer to drive around an open world that looks like Forza than drive around a boring, Nürburgring or whatever.
Yes.
Like it is in Gran Turismo.
Yeah, all separate, broken, nothing's joined, nothing flows. It's like that whole, it's like Elden Ring, so beautiful because it all flows into each other, and it's the way Forza Horizon, all the open world flows beautifully into the individual tracks and everything they've got put up. Whereas this is very much, here's one section and then another and then another. It's so old school. It's really, really stands out how old school it is. But I've been banging on about it enough, I think.
Maybe that's part of its charm. I don't know. Maybe it's doing something different by, bucking the trend of all the open world games that are doing stuff better these days. I don't know.
Well, that's a great point you raised, Steve. As a gameplay goes, like if you only had a PlayStation, I'm saying it's phenomenal. Like if you haven't had a racing game in several years and this is your first chance to go hands-on with a modern console and a modern game, it's fantastic. It's absolutely great. It's top-notch. The racing is exactly what you want. I'm just talking about the overall experience, the accoutrement, if you will. The surrounding bits, they're not there. That's what you need to know. But on to the news. Steve, do you feel like kicking down the newsroom's door?
Let's kick that door down.
You have the right to remain newsworthy. First up this evening from GameSpot, PlayStation State of Play, March 2020. Oh, wasn't it a good one? If you know us, if you know the Returnal news, very exciting. But, Steve, the biggest game announcements from GameSpot, from their top to bottom. First up, Exoprimal.
Everyone thought this looked like it was going to be Dino Crisis at one point because you're shooting dinosaurs and stuff, but it looks more like a Left 4 Dead type Capcom experience where, you're sort of in mechs and stuff and you're shooting. It could be a good time, I reckon. Like, I've got time for a game like this, I think.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm finding here I've got the audio's kicked in off this ad and I can't mute it. Sorry. I finally got it.
Quality ad, though.
I had no idea what it was even about. Sorry, mate, you were saying this is the dinosaur one, yeah? The one that people thought was it Ragnarok? No.
Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis. Shit, thank you.
So it looks like Dino Crisis one. So it just looks like, I don't know. It just looks like a lot of fun. So I don't know, which was obviously not expected, and like obviously we've heard nothing. I've heard nothing of this game until the state of play, and I don't know. It could be a lot of fun to run around in a bit of co-op shooting dinosaurs in an exoskeleton suit, which looks very similar to what's that game that came out?
Metroid. It looks like Metroid suit to my eye.
It does kind of that, but it also looks like that game made by a certain company that did terrible, and the name is escaping me.
Avengers?
You're in it. No, the one before Avengers that was worse than Avengers. Anthem.
Oh, Anthem! Of course. How can we forget the live games as a service gem Anthem? Yes.
Oh, how could I forget it? All I remember doing in that game was creating a character that looked very much like a Ninja Turtle in its colouring, and that was fun. Maybe I've had passed my stuff down to my son, because that's all I enjoyed in that game, was the character creator.
Perfect. All right, so cool dinosaur combat thing. Do we know anything about it, mate? Free to play? Is it a MMORPG? Is it 100 versus 1?
No, I reckon it's a co-op kind of third-person based wave shootery type thing. I think that's what I get out of it. Anyway.
Back for Blood style, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, third person, and yeah, if you look at the gameplay now, it kind of
looks a little Overwatchy a little bit as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it does look like it could be fun. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a slate of a 2023.
It does look very tech demo. What was that? Was it PlayStation 2 where they just had the rubber duckies? Where they just dropped 100 rubber duckies in the thing? Yes. That's what the dinosaur falls reminded me of right there.
Said, it's due to come out for PS4 and PS5. So I don't know. I think we're seeing a lot of games now that probably may have just been a PS5 exclusive. They're having to sort of, make PS4 games now because there's not as many PS5s in the world that they want. So I don't know whether a lot of these game developers now go, let's do a PS4 and PS5 because we're going to sell more copies of our game, or whether that's hindering the PS5 copies of games. I don't know. But, it's strange to see a game coming out for a PS4 in 2023.
It is very odd. Next up, we have Ghostwire Tokyo. This is the first time I've seen Ghostwire Tokyo, Steve, and thought, that kind of looks like it could be interesting, but that is accompanied by the first real hands-on impressions of people saying this game really isn't that fun.
Yeah, I did see a lot of hands-on impressions sort of after the state of play, and sort of during the week I've seen a lot of people talking about it. It's got a lot of Ubi sort of soft style open world stuff about it, where you are just checking boxes and stuff. Which,
yes,
I mean, it can be good if looking at this, it does have kind of a different sort of aesthetic to it, which could be interesting to play around with. The fact that you are just using magic, and it does have cool hand symbols and stuff like that. But
yes,
for me, like I don't know, I look at this game and go, I kind of wish you'd just made Evil Within 3, because I'm such a massive fan of Evil Within 1 and 2, like some of my favorite Resident Evil style horror games. I just kind of wish they stuck to that, but I can see what they're trying to do. They're doing something different. It's set in a massive sort of Tokyo. From what I hear, the world's bigger than something like a Yakuza, and that the art style's quite cool. I think some of the enemies are quite cool. It could be like a modern sort of version of like Ghostbusters, where you're trying to trap ghosts. But I mean, I can see myself playing it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to see myself enjoying it after something like Elden Ring. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
No, mate, it sounds like you and I are pretty much in the same boat. Looking at it, this is the first solo play where I looked at it and went, oh, you know what? The minute-to-minute gameplay might actually be okay off that trailer. But it went hand in hand with so many hands-on previews. As you said, coming out, people saying the minute-to-minute gameplay is not there. So for me, mate, at this point, I think Ghostwire Tokyo is just a wide berth. I'm going to wait 12 months, let them give it to us on PlayStation Plus or Spartacus or whatever they're going to give it to us on at the time. And that's when I'll be checking it out. It's unfortunate. As I said, this is the first time I looked at it and went, hell yeah, it's time. But then, nope, apparently it really isn't. So unfortunate.
Also, that being said, apparently the abilities and stuff you unlock throughout the game do get quite good sort of towards them, where most people, I think, have only previewed up to level 2. And I think I remember seeing one preview saying it took them up to 6 hours just to get through chapter 2. Again, don't know how many chapters there are in the game, but the progression seems to sort of start taking hold after that chapter 2. So maybe you start to unlock some cool abilities and stuff where the game actually does take hold. And I hope the story sort of gets involved, because I really enjoyed the stories of Evil Within 1 and 2. So I'm hoping they got a good story there. It's just from all accounts and all previews at the moment, I'm sort of getting sort of negative vibes of most of them. Yeah,
everyone's giving it the negative vibes. I'm giving it the wide berth. The next up, Steve, we had Forspoken. Now, this is the Amy Hennig, Gary Whitta co-written one, is it not?
That is that one, yeah. So Gary Whitta co-writing this one. I watch a bit of kind of funny content and stuff with Gary Whitta, and I quite enjoy his wry sense of humour and stuff that he does. He's not a bad writer. He did do Rogue's. Was it Rogue? What was the Star
Rogue
Wars?
Rogue One.
So he did write that, and he's obviously done a whole bunch of stuff. He's writing comic books and stuff as well at the moment for DC. But the fact that he's sort of involved in this sort of gets me excited. Some of the gameplay stuff I've seen actually gets me really excited to see this, and I really like the blend of sort of just this little female that's been brought in from the real world. She's now in a fantasy world, and it seems contextual with some of the stuff that she actually says while she's in the world. Like it's kind of cool. It's like you're not in Elden Ring where you're playing a character that's sort of in that world and born within that world. She's from our world, and she's getting sucked into this. So all of her thoughts are the kind of same thoughts we would have if we were immediately sucked into a world like this. So I think that's a different thing we quite haven't seen with a game like this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it, and I think we've got an October release date now for this. I think that's later than what it was initially planned. I think it got pushed recently.
Do you want to take a bet now, Steve? Do we see it this year at all, or does it get pushed ultimately to February next year, do we think?
I reckon we do. No, I reckon from all the stuff we've seen, it looks reasonably complete. I think pushing it to October gives them enough time to polish it. The only thing I could see hurting this game is if God of War releases, in or around that time.
Well, how would it go up against Starfield?
Different game, so I think it would do well. And the fact that I think this is exclusive to Sony, whereas Starfield is exclusive to Xbox. So you're going to get different sort of player bases playing each game anyway. So, but
that's
true. You'll find Starfield's going to sell better anyway. I think being Bethesda and Forspoken's and unknown. So if the reviews will speak for it, I mean, it looks like it potentially could anywhere go from a 7 to a 9. I think at the moment is where you're looking at that game.
Yes,
unknown.
Yeah, it looks sitting around an 8. I can see it definitely.
Yeah, so you can almost see the writing on the wall. It gets very easy when you've sort of been following games for a long time to sort of see a game and look at that and go, "Yep, that's sort of swimming in 7s."
It strikes me very much as what was it? Not Overwatch last year. What was the Outer Worlds?
Yeah.
It strikes me very Outer Worlds-esque. I reckon it would have a similar because that was a solid 8 if memory serves.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be right there.
I think it will be too.
And then, of course, Steve, the big one for me, my number one, Returnal. Getting a patch, getting some extra content, getting co-op mode.
Co-op mode, mate. If we only had co-op mode going back in the day when we were trying to run these platinums, that would have been ideal. I don't know whether we're going to get more trophies attached to this co-op stuff. And
that is such a big question. I'm like, come on, let's get 6 gold trophies in there. Let's have 6 biomes in there. What are they calling the Ascension? It's the Ascension, isn't it? It's a tower. It's a endless Horde Waves tower that I hope is co-op as well. Give me 6 trophies, give us 6 levels of the tower, 6 new biomes, 6 new bosses, and 6 gold trophies, and give it to me all for free by the end of the month, please.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they announced this and we're getting it the 23rd of March, which is just around the corner. I'm like, come on, guys. Like February and March have been stacked. Like, don't give me more Returnal. Well, do give me more Returnal content. Just don't give it to me now because I don't have time to play it. But I will make time to play this because I absolutely adore Returnal. It got our Geek Aloud Game of the Year last year.
How could it not? Such a good game.
How could it not?
Here's how I'll describe it, Steve. It's last year's Elden Ring.
It is last year's Elden Ring. It's very different games, but it's got that difficulty level. And like with Elden Ring, you could always bring someone in co-op to help out, which I've done with Troy on multiple occasions.
Oh yes.
With Returnal, we both had to do this solo.
We did, except for the very first Let's Play available on the channel. Steve, you're on the couch for it. We did a couch co-op. Go back and check out the channel for that. Let's Play number 1 of Returnal. Going back probably over a year at this point.
It is going back, and we were very impressed with those first reactions as well. I'm pretty sure I was in the studio on the day that game launched.
You were, mate. You were. It's real, and we can't wait to check it out on the channel. Keep your eyes peeled. Not far away, as we said. March 23rd. Next up, JoJo's Bizarre All-Star Battle Royale, I'm assuming is the R. Steve, tell us things.
I would like to tell you things, but I don't know many things about that one, unfortunately. All I can do is read to you from there saying, what we say? You
know what, Steve? We'll just bounce forward. What's the next one you like?
Got dive for Valkyrie Asylum. No, mate, I'm happy with what we've discussed.
I'm happy with that as well.
Well, that's about it.
Call that the end of round one. And my gosh, seriously though, More Eternal, how could you not be stoked with that? More Eternal, March 23rd. Story number 2 this evening from IGN. The original Dying Light just received a next-gen update. Steve, Techland, the studio that cares the most and just keeps on giving. Tell me things.
They really do, mate. Like, I thought we had the last content drop for this before Dying Light 2.
Yep.
It came out, but no, they've just dropped the next-gen patch just quietly for their old game. So, and a very good game at that as well. So if you haven't played number 1 or if you don't have the cash for number 2 quite yet, go back, play number 1 on your new console. It is an absolutely awesome game. And now with next-gen upgrade for free, like, Techland, they're just the guys that keep on giving.
They are. They're brilliant. And as I said, much love to Dying Light 2. Finish the single-player campaign. Still going through that open world, but much love for number 2 and Techland. Fantastic work, guys. Keep swinging for the fences. We love it. Third story of the evening, IGN, Hogwarts Legacy will get a State of Play broadcast this very week. Steve, are you a Hogwarts Legacy super fan? Are you pumped?
I thought this game had gone. It had gone very quiet since its initial release, or not release, but announcement. And I thought this thing was dead in the water, especially with all the J.K. Rowling stuff going on. Like, it's very sort of tenuous to whether you even do anything for this game until it drops. But I mean, they have to do something. Like, Harry Potter is such a big, franchise that you can't not advertise a massive game coming out for it. So I think this will be the first time we actually see a third-party game at a State of Play with its own sort of focus on just it. So I'm hoping to see some good things. And from all accounts, this is looking really cool. All the stuff that was shown or sort of rumored before this State of Play with the gameplay and, the Hogwarts adventure you're going to go on and choose your own character and all this kind of stuff. I'm really excited to see where they've come from that initial announcement. I think it might have been E3 last year or even earlier where we first got wind of this game.
I think it's been 2 years, mate. I reckon it's been 2 E3s.
Yeah, I think you might be right. So it's been a long time. I thought this thing was dead in the water. I thought we're never going to hear anything. So to get news of a State of Play for this Harry Potter game and being next-gen consoles and stuff, I think this could be massive, especially if they can release this before Christmas this year. I think this game could sell ridiculous numbers.
Absolutely.
The Harry Potter name just in itself, no one, yes, people care about J.K. Rowling and the fact that she's an absolute, cow of a thing. But it's just, it's Harry Potter. It's going to sell.
Do we know, is there a coming out the end of this year? Is there another Harry Potter-esque film? Is there, what's the Strange Beasts and Fantastic Beasts and something?
There is a Fantastic Beasts movie coming out. I'm not sure when that is. I think it's sooner rather than later. I reckon it's sort of mid-year as opposed to end of year. So that'll sort of keep the ball rolling on that. We've got the play in Melbourne at the moment as well. So Harry Potter fever is sort of as high as it probably could be at this time, considering it's been done for so long. But I can see this, going huge, and I think we're going to see some really good stuff at this State of Play. So I'm trying to see what time we're actually going to get it in Oz, because there's a whole bunch of different times.
Sorry, mate, while you look for that, I've just clicked through a link and I can say that we get the next Fantastic Beasts 3 film is happening April 15th. April 15th. So it'll be sometime after that. I thought maybe they were trying to sync them up for a simultaneous release. Not the case.
No, it's not the case. But there we go. So in March 18 at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. So what's that? We have 3 days' time. What's that put us at?
Friday morning, probably.
Friday morning, 8 a.m. for us. So I'll be keen to see what comes of this, but I'm quietly excited because I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I really enjoy sort of that world. And I think if they can do a good game within that world and some good monsters and stuff, obviously we're in Elden Ring, which is, essentially like a Harry Potter world anyway when it comes to fantastic beasts and stuff like fighting. So
fantastic bosses and fantastic bosses and where to cheese them.
That's right. We like a good cheese, don't we?
It's the only way to play. All right. Story number 4 this evening is from GameSpot, and it is announcing that Uncharted movie has passed 300 mil worldwide, which has exceeded every Tomb Raider film. My goodness, Lara Croft, you've met your match, and it's in the bloke that was ripping off you that was ripping off Indiana Jones.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I knew this movie was going to do big numbers. Once we saw it and thought, this isn't terrible. I knew
yes.
Obviously, it's the star power of Tom Holland that is bringing the moviegoers to the movies to see this. All the Spider-Man fans. I should actually mention, I think Spider-Man was the newest one.
No Way Home?
No Way Home, I think, is available to purchase digitally as of today in Australia.
Whoa, look out. That's exciting.
It is exciting. So a lot of people are watching that maybe for the first time at home. They've got the Tom Holland fever and might go out and see the Uncharted movie. But I can't wait to see the sequel for this movie, because I think this pretty much solidifies the fact we are getting a sequel to that movie.
Just quickly, Steve, what's the number one symptom of Tom Holland fever, if you could tell me?
Tom Holland fever, number one symptom, I believe.
Is it flushing cheeks?
Well, yeah, I'm getting flushing cheeks right now. Just think about him.
All right, I guess
he does take his top off many times within the Uncharted movie, doesn't he?
That he does. All right, let's hope story number 5 can keep its shirt on. Infamous Dark Souls hacker is now in Elden Ring, says he wants to be caught invading and soft banding players. Steve, tell us things.
What a prick. This guy, I read this article the other day. I'm like, he's renowned for Dark Souls 3 invading and stuff. And what he does is he invades games and then he'll defeat you. But when he defeats you, he actually puts items within your game that get you banned by FromSoft. So,
perfect.
He says he's doing it to make FromSoft a better company, but I'm just going to call it out. I don't think he's an arsehole.
Yeah, I think that's number one, arsehole being arsehole. Internet gonna internet.
That's right. So, I mean, it is what it is. Apparently, if he does invade your game, be wary and just either apparently suicide your character or completely just, not delete, but exit your game before he gets a chance to kill you, and that will save you. So, if you do see this bloke floating around, don't try and fight him. He's hacked the hell out of this game and will kill you instantly, and then you will be banned from Elden Ring Game of the Year.
And there's nothing the Gaming Enforcement Agency can do to get you out of FromSoft prison. I'm sorry, it's beyond our powers.
No, that's right. That's right.
Story number 6 for the evening from GameSpot. Tiny Tina's Wonderland will have crossplay at launch. Borderlands 3 could add it as well. I would suggest, being that they're made in the same engines and that Tiny Tina's Wonderland being DLC initially it's slated for Borderlands 3, of course they could deploy it. I would argue it's already working, in fact.
I would argue that too, but it's just good to see games finally doing cross-play, and I think they make a point this article could actually say, and also PlayStation is getting involved, because usually PlayStation are the ones that don't like to get involved in the whole cross-play. It took Fortnite how long to get involved?
It was a good 8 months and I think 3 lawsuits. Do we know, Steve, if I'm going to be able to transfer my progress from Borderlands 3 on PlayStation, where I've finished the main story? Am I going to be able to transfer the save over to the Xbox Borderlands 3? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It all depends. Does Gearbox have their own sort of website thing?
They do. Yes, they absolutely. Past, so. Yeah. I'm blanking on their names now, and you just said it. Gearbox Software definitely have their own. They've got their shift system. They've been doing this for generations. They are the masters of transferring characters across consoles and generations.
I don't see why they couldn't do it, mate. If Ubisoft are going to let you transfer your save from a PlayStation to an Xbox and vice versa, and now Rockstar are letting you do it with G.E.A., I don't see why Borderlands and Gearbox can't, afford you a similar, option.
Indeed. And are you keen for Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Steve, or are you going to hold off on it?
I'm a bit lukewarm. There's a lot of stuff coming out around that date as well. I'm probably, if I had to pick between Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and I know I've already spoken about Ghostwire Tokyo sort of maybe being on the lukewarm side, I would probably rather play that than I would this game, only because it's something a bit different. I kind of think I know what I'm going to expect out of Wonderlands with the Borderlands humor, and I've played Borderlands 3, and I know they're trying to turn us around and say it's not that, it's not Borderlands 3, it's its own thing. But I don't know. I just feel like maybe if I had to choose between those two, I'd probably pick Ghostwire.
I am convinced this is in fact Borderlands 3 in the next DLC. I don't think there's any way they're getting away from that feeling. But with the cold reception on Ghostwire, mate, I am leaning towards Teeny Tina's Wonderland. And I know I keep saying that wrong. I am just enjoying it far too much at this point. So maybe, Steve, in future, my thoughts on Wonderlands and your thoughts on Ghostwire when the time comes.
There we go.
How does that sound?
That sounds good. I will split the funds and the information. How does that sound?
Perfect. That sounds like something we can achieve. And finally, for the new segment, as we always wrap it up, it is, thanks to Game Informer, this week's releases. Top of the list, Grand Theft Auto 5 came to PlayStation and the Xbox Series XS. We covered it already, so I'll just mention that early today we put up the Let's Install for Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a little bit hard to find the $15 version, but that video will show you exactly where and how to get it. So if you're stuck, go have a look at that video. It'll help you out, I promise. Next up, we have Phantom Breaker Omnia. I have no idea. Steve, help!
I'm going to say Omnia, but I don't have no idea what kind of game it is. It looks JRPG-ish
JRPGs up the wazoo, last gen and Switch. So the next one is The Cruel King and the Great Hero, coming to PlayStation 4 and Switch. This has one...
Pass.
All right, passing. Next up, Paradise Killer, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XX, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Paradise Killer, Steve, arcade fighter, I'm going to suggest, based on the cover art.
More like Pass Killer. Pass.
Whoa! All right. How do you feel about Tunic, Steve? You're a Tunic type of guy.
I can speak about Tunic. Tunic actually had a demo released. I want to say around E3 last year, I think I was playing a demo for this, and it's got very much a Zelda Link's Awakening vibes about it, and it's a really cool isometric adventure platformer. So I think this will actually review really well. I reckon you're going to see between 8s, 9s, maybe even some 10s based on some previews I've seen of this game, and even just going hands-on with it. It's got a cool little art style, and if you can stick the landing, I think, this could be a little special title coming out. I don't know.
Most importantly, it's a Game Pass! Game Pass!
I was going to say, I think it might be. I've got a feeling this game might be Game Pass. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me.
Fingers crossed.
It is Xbox.
The platform
only. So.
Yes, the platform release being Xbox Series XX, Xbox One, and PC only. I reckon you're right there, Steve. Check it out for Game Pass, and if it is, I can promise you there'll be the Let's Install whenever it's available on the channel. Next up, we have Anon. What is that? Mutanmonum? I have no idea.
Mutationum.
Mutationum?
Let's give this one a 10 out of 10 for worst name of a game this year.
Sure, I'll give them that.
And that's all we need to say about it.
Very good. Next up, Monster Energy Supercross 5. That game just keeps coming out year after year. I have no idea if they change anything in it, but another year of the Monster Energy Supercross series continuing. Then we have Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, rated as an 8.5, coming to PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. Steve, they just keep cashing in on Persona 4. Is this the 8th parallel release of a Persona 4 something?
Yeah. The only version of Persona 4 I've played, I think it was Persona 4 Golden on the Vita back.
You and I both!
Really
That's the only one.
Really good game, though.
Perfect. All right, then we have Shredders on the Xbox Series X and S and PC. Possibly a Game Pass, Steve?
Possibly. I did see a few early preview stuff of this, and the people are saying it had a few like SSX vibes about it. So if it can hit the sort of heights of SSX or SSX Tricky, then maybe we have a little fun game on our hands, but I won't be purchasing it unless it's through Game Pass.
Perfect. Would be, could be, maybe. And then, finally, the last one on the list, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin 7. It rated a 7. It's coming out on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Steve, tell me things.
Well, the review roundup for this one did go up today. I think all the major sort of sites like GameSpot, IGN, everything sort of started reviewing this today. And the general consensus is that the game is a fun game. It just looks like a PlayStation 2 game for the most part. So
Perfect.
It's got a lot of like really poor dialogue, but whether the dialogue is actually intentionally bad or not is yet to be seen. And if it's intentionally bad, I can see it being quite funny to play through something like this. It's got your Devil May Cry kind of style combat and stuff with a Final Fantasy story, and apparently the story, although not great, does come together towards the end. So I don't know, I'm not going to play it because it's very similar to something like an Elden Ring again, so I've got to keep saying it's a fantasy world, and if I'm going to be playing a game like that at the moment and spending my money, I'm not spending it on on a Final Fantasy game that looks like a PlayStation 2 game.
Fair enough, man. Absolutely fair enough. That does it for this week's, as I said, Gaming for the List, as we do it each and every week. Steve, that can only bring us to the next door we're kicking down, and that is, of course,
Who will fight?
Who will fight? Steve, this week, I know you gave us an awesome intro off the head. So, mate, follow it up. What can you tell us? Who's fighting this week?
Mate, this week we have the best open world in a game that also has a horse or horse-like animal you can ride and is also third person.
So first up this week, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Steve, the game that just keeps on getting released.
Mate, this game's probably been released more than G.E.A. 5 at this point.
Yes, I reckon it probably has.
I think there's a running joke that both those games just want to release on every generation of console from this day forth.
They're going to have to try and work out a way where they could backwards release themselves all the way to the NES and the SNES, I think.
They probably will. I mean, we've already seen demake versions of Bloodborne come out. Why not Skyrim as well?
That's true.
No, Scott, in all seriousness, in terms of open worlds and stuff, Skyrim at the time, and obviously for the continuing time, it's continued to release. It is provided one of the most, massive open worlds that just continues to go across all platforms. Like, you can play this on anything. Like, it didn't run that well initially, but it runs really well now. You can play this game first person or third person, so it did just get into the list of the factors of third person.
And of course, the Thum, the big, what was it, Dragonborn Thum.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it did bring to the grandiose fights against dragons, and again, it's got kind of that Elden Ring gameplay where you can go magic and melee and all that kind of stuff, and it did it before it was cool. In fact, it probably paved the way for a lot of these games on this list in terms of open world. So, I mean, you can't speak more highly of Skyrim. Like, obviously, you had Morrowind and stuff before it that sort of lay the groundwork for Skyrim. But the fact that we still haven't seen another Elder
Scrolls, yes.
Elder Scrolls game for since this game came out sort of speaks largely to how good this game is and how well it has carried on. But
phenomenal game.
I'd like to see what they do next and whether it can sort of stand toe-to-toe with something like an Elden Ring. But in terms of setting up an open world, Skyrim definitely paved the way for many, many games.
Of course, their biggest claim to fame, of course, was the $5 horse armor. Or was that not Skyrim? That might have been the one before it. Was that Elder Scrolls 4 that did the horse armor, now that I think about it? It could have been.
I think it might have been. All I remember about Skyrim is there's a mod that you can turn dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine. So that gets a point from me.
Nice. Number 2 on the list is up on screen, Steve. Red Dead Redemption 2, of course. Who could forget their horse adventures in the Wild West?
Red Dead Redemption 2. This gets extra bonus points because it's got a horse that actually is your horse and has emotional resonance throughout the game as well.
Yes,
especially towards the end. But
so much emotional resonance. I often forgot which horse was mine and stole somebody else's. That's right. I couldn't pick my horse out of a lineup in the Old West.
No, but that's okay because technically this standoff is not about the horse; it's about the open world.
That's right.
And my God, even going back to this game today, I know you went back and played it on PC earlier.
Oh, didn't that look and treat? No, it was earlier this year. My God. If you ever get the chance to check out Red Dead Redemption 2 on a high-end graphics card, woo, do it. Sorry, Steve, go.
Even going back today and playing this game, even though it's still stuck at 30 frames, I hope they give us an update just like we got with G.E.A. 5. But
they've got to, surely.
It looks incredible, like the vast vistas of the mountains and the grass, and I don't remember being blown away so much by just an open field ever in a game than I am in Red Dead. And
the opening of Elden Ring when you step out for the first time.
Or, I don't know, even
an old mate on his big golden horse, come on.
Yeah, I reckon Red Dead's got it covered just for pure just graphical fidelity and just the way it looks. And
fair call, mate. Fair call.
I still think Red Dead is a better looking game than Elden
Ring. You're right. You're definitely right, mate. You're definitely right. I'm just winding you up. You're correct.
Yeah,
Red Dead Redemption 2 is.
And just if we're talking open worlds, just the emergent sort of side quest that happen. Like you'll be riding along like a track and some guy come out and get bitten by a snake and all this stuff. Like it is such a good, realistic open world that just doesn't feel like an open world. Like, yes, Elden Ring doesn't hold your hand with quest markers and stuff like that. I'd argue that Red Dead Redemption 2 does that as well. But yes, it's got quest markers, but it's got so much stuff that happens within that world that it's just contextual and just happens while you're living within the world.
The amount of dialogue lines they've recorded just riding through the world and hearing people speak like in character, it's perfect throughout Red Dead 2. Sorry, mate, keep going.
No, that's fine. So I can only imagine what we're going to get eventually with Grand Theft Auto 6. The fact that we've just got with 5 in it, and it borderline looks like current gen game, and we've got Red Dead 2, which could do with it. Yes, it could do with a frames per second bump, but looking at that game, running through the snow and the haze and the lighting, like Rockstar know how to make a game, and like
that they do.
I just whether we see Red Dead 3 before we see G.E.A. 6, because that for some reason
controversial call.
Seem more likely at this point, given
the
fact that given the world we live in, I think it's easier to make a Red Dead Redemption 3 with a different story set. Have they near our time to make a GTA?
Have they not officially said they're working on GTA 6 and they've never said the words Red Dead Redemption 3?
Yeah, they have, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would take much to just say, yep, we've got Red Dead 3 in the bag, because we can just go a different story. We can go prequel, we can go sequel, we can just tell our story.
Would you rather Red Dead Redemption 3, though, or Max Payne 4?
I actually had this thought today playing GTA 5 with the mechanics that it's got. I would love a Max Payne by Rockstar again.
I know! How good would it be?
Max Payne 3 properly remastered, Troy.
I was thinking about it today, playing GTA 5, it just struck me. I'm like, oh my God, where is it? We need the next Max Payne. Come on, Rockstar, the next Max Payne.
Sorry, I went so as far as to make Michael bald with a beard so he looked like Max Payne.
That's awesome, man. More power to you. I love it. All right, let's keep going here in the standoff. The next up, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Who didn't get lost in, what was it called? The White something? What was that first zone where I stayed way too long in? White Whispers, White Shadows, White something.
I don't know, but either way, this game, my God, an open world. Like the side quests that feed into main quests that also feed into other side quests. Like
world's best DLC stories, hands down, ever.
Yep, it ticks every single box when it comes to an open world. Like,
yes, it does.
You go back and play it now, and like, yes, Geralt is a little bit stiff, but the combat is still fun. Like, he's got magic, he's got melee. You do it all. You got to go on hunts to find different gear, and like, the story feeds into the gameplay, and it is one of the most perfect games I've ever played. It's
and pop quiz, Steve. Pop quiz. What's the name of your horse in The Witcher 3? Go.
In The Witcher 3, Roach.
Correct. Well done. Keep going.
So that it gets bonus points. It's got a horse that, again, emotional resonance. It's not just a horse. It is Roach. It is your horse. It is the horse. I argue that it's probably the best horse in an open world game on this list in terms of recognizability and emotional resonance, as we keep saying.
I would argue also the disdain and the throwaway way in which he says Roach when he calls him is right up there with Christopher Judge, the way he throws our boy in Occasion on God of War.
It is. And it's the only game where a character will verbally announce winds howling.
Yes.
And I have to give props to this show on Netflix.
Oh.
They never say it, but it'll cut to a scene and there'll just be like just a shot of a castle, but the subtitles, if you're watching with subtitles, will say winds howling.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Which I love. But I don't remember a game before Witcher where I put over 100 hours actually into a game.
Oh, you never got sucked into World of Warcraft, Steve.
No, I didn't. Even Skyrim, I never put in this many hours. Like, for me, this was the quintessential RPG.
Yes.
And even in putting other games up against it, this is still one of the best games I have ever played, hands down, when it comes to main story and DLC. Like, this game is borderline a 10 out of 10 perfect.
I agree with you completely, Steve. Back up 100%. We're in complete unanimous consent here at the Gaming Enforcement Agency so far. The next up, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a.k.a. Horizon 1 killer. Steve, tell us things.
Speaking of borderline perfect 10 out of 10 games, here's another one, Troy.
Oh, yes.
The only thing that can rival all these other games for an open world is Zelda Breath of the Wild. It has that open moment where, just like Elden Ring, you come out and you see the whole world. And, yes, it's only on a Switch, but, something about the art style.
No, that's not true. It was also on the Wii U. Keep going.
No, true. It was on the Wii U, but it looked better on the Switch.
Yes, it did.
It ran better.
Yes,
it ran better, especially after quite a few patches. There was some moments in Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't run quite so well, but anyway, the art style in Breath of the Wild, this art style itself in general, I just adore. Like, it's got that even a Sifu kind of quality about it.
Yes,
why Sifu so much, that realistic sort of cartoony sort of vibe to it. I think it lends itself perfectly to the Switch because it can run this kind of graphics better than it could.
It doesn't age. Yes.
It does not age. Just like Wind Waker is still one of my favourite Zeldas because of the art style. Breath of the Wild is that, I think, between Skyward Sword, which was it sort of went somewhere in between Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild. It didn't quite hit that mark. Breath of the Wild absolutely nailed it.
Yes.
And just the open world, from the moment you can see that volcano, you can go fight that main boss if you want. You can go there. You can see that volcano from any point on that map. Wherever you are, you can see that volcano. I think that design of that world is just impeccable.
I agree.
Climb anything. No other game lets you climb.
The paraglider, Steve. The paraglider.
Yep, you can climb anything in this game. You get your stamina up, you can climb anything, you can jump off with that paraglider. No other game gives you the freedom like Zelda does. There is literally no other game that lets you do what Zelda does.
Yes.
And that, for me, I think speaks so much to the adventure, and it speaks so much to the freedom in this open world that you can literally do anything and go anywhere. Even Elden Ring, there's mountains you can't climb or go. Yes, we're about to talk about it, but yes, it's got amazing parts you can go to and that you find. But Zelda, like, you see a mountain and you go, I want to go there. You can climb it and you can go there.
Yep, and not only that, Nintendo was smart enough, developers, to put something there, so you're always rewarded for your exploration.
That's right. So that's it. You've always got something to pick. I think they've got that, what is it, the 15-second rule or 30-second rule, that you need to be seeing something to picture in just every 30 seconds.
That is news to me.
Yeah, it's a rule they went by. Like, I think it's 30 seconds. That every time you need to be seeing something to picture is every 30 seconds to continue that adventure. And I feel like that's there. Like, you got the Korok seeds.
Definitely.
Finding under things, even though, like, there's no way I'd ever 100% this game, because finding every Korok seed would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine what they're going to do with Breath of the Wild 2, because I don't know how you surpass what you've already done with Breath of the Wild 1. But I know the wizards at Nintendo are going to come up with something. But as far as open worlds go, there is nothing freer than Breath of the Wild. And I can't remember a game in recent memory where the open world for me was just such an exhilaration to explore.
Oh, Elden Ring, I would argue, but let's move on next.
Yeah, we can argue that.
Next up, Ghost of Tsushima, some of the best modern UI development ever seen, I would argue.
Yeah, like, as I've said very many times on our channel, is that I've never used a photo mode more than I have in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
The world is that beautiful, and it's screenshot central. Like, you can't walk a place in that game and not go, oh my God, like, the leaves are blowing everywhere. You've got trees, you've got different biomes that create silhouettes of trees that just are like, you can't not want to take a photo of them. Like, I know you hate photo modes, you probably didn't use it, but tell me you weren't drawn to at least try this game.
I think I was. I think there may have been a bronze trophy attached to it, so I was drawn to it ever so briefly.
But, like, what a beautiful game. And just the open world, like, all we probably have to say about this is the swipe up on your controller.
Yes.
And the wheel will tell you where to go. That is where this game, I think, shines above all these other games in terms of
that and the foxes and the birds, mate, leading you in the world. Yes, absolutely.
It's just emergent. It's not a curse telling where to go. It's you having to follow an animal. It's all about bringing the nature, the fauna and fauna into the game, and it's just it's beautifully done. I think if they do a sequel, which I'm assuming that's what they have to be working on, is if they can't not be working on a Ghost of Tsushima sequel, surely.
Surely they must be. I'm convinced of it. Yes.
They'll have to double down, I think, on all that kind of stuff because I think that's what makes their world so beautiful to explore and so nice just to be in. Like, I think
that and the music, Ghost of Tsushima's music, head and shoulders above all the other music, open world. I would argue.
They do have that. And they do have that mode where you can make the game black and white, like an old school, like, samurai movie, which is it's just so beautiful to sort of experience. And I chucked it on a couple of times, and I'm not going to keep it on that mode because the world they've created is so beautiful that I want to see it more than just
games.
But it's just where this game beats all the others. It is in its like environmental storytelling and navigation. I think there's nothing that beats it. I think other games could take stuff from this, and I don't think we haven't seen anything in any other games that are like that in terms of navigation.
No one's come anywhere close to what they pulled off in Ghost of Tsushima. And then, of course, Steve, we have Elden Ring is number 6 on the list. Elden Ring. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Just quickly before you jump in there, Steve, I'll just quickly remind everyone, Steve is level 138, 60 hours in. I'm a level 128, 80 hours in. Sorry, Steve. Back to the laptop and you with Elden Ring.
I mean, partly because of the reason we're doing this list is because of Elden Ring and Grand Theft Auto that obviously just came out. And I did stipulate that they're with horses and third person because if we went with any open world, like we're looking at like at least 25 games. And it's ridiculous. Like,
we had to find a way to cut all the Saints Rows out.
All the Saints Rows were made quality games. They obviously
great games, but we had to find a way to cut some of those. And the Far Cry, we had to limit those.
The Far Cry, so we couldn't have first person because obviously you can ride horses in them, and we had some good Far Cries, but we had to stick with what we've got. And Elden Ring, this game, like, Roy, we've talked about it multiple times, but the open world in this game, the fact that we've gone from like, upper ground to underground, and then anywhere in between in terms of biomes and stuff, and then the things you can find just by exploring the world and entering a dungeon. And this is where I think this gets over Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I think you had dungeons that you found, like the little cave things you do, but they were quite repetitive after a while.
Yes. It's constantly new in Elden Ring, isn't it, man?
That's right, yeah. So all the dungeons are different. Like, they have a similar flavour in terms of what you got to do in terms of find a lever, open a boss door. But while you're doing that, you're doing so many different things. Like I found a dungeon the other day in Elden Ring where I was finding chests that like had the smoke that transport you to a different area.
Yes.
This smoke was transporting to a different chest within that dungeon over and over again. I got stuck for ages and I was tempted to use a guide, but I didn't. I've got to just keep going. And I kept going to different chests, and the area deliberately looks similar to where you transport yourself, but it's just ever so slightly different. You eventually get to the end of it. This sense of accomplishment from getting to the end of that dungeon and then fighting that boss was so good and just so different to all the other dungeons I'd done, even though it looked quite similar. Like,
was that like a tight hour, man?
Yeah, probably. I reckon by the time I finished, it probably was about an hour. I can't remember.
I reckon this whole game is designed around 1 hour explorations of different zones. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Agree, because you can always do something that will take you not less than an hour. Like, I think you can do smaller things, obviously. If you just want to grind, you can do small things here, there, 10, 15 minutes, get yourself 100,000 runes if you want. But if you want to go on like a little quest or do a dungeon, anywhere between that half an hour, 45 hour, depending on your skill level and level of your actual character, like you can just pump out these awesome and just have such a good experience in that small little time that a lot of games struggle to even do for the entirety of their whole game. And you're having these moments over and over again in Elden Ring. So
it's so good, so varied the art style, so varied the enemies. Yet you're right, man. It's 1 hour hooks, 1 hour sessions. They've absolutely nailed it. All right, next up on the list.
One more thing.
Back to Elden Ring. Go, man.
Is you don't actually have to wait once you call your horse or
great.
It just appears. It appears beneath you and you're ready to go.
You are the wind beneath my wind torrent.
That's it.
All right, next up we have Horizon Forbidden what?
Forbidden West.
No, I forgot about it. I'm sorry.
You forgot. Yeah, I know. It's hard because it's been Breath of the Wild again by Elden Ring. But I know Bully in the chat. He's gone back to Horizon and he's trying to platinum at the moment. So that's his game of choice at the moment.
Nice.
But
has he finished Elden Ring though?
He has not. He's put in 55 hours to Horizon. I feel like he may go back to Elden Ring. He's finding Elden Ring quite difficult, so I might have to jump in there and give him some co-op assistance because that can always help.
Indeed.
But in terms of open worlds, I think Horizon, I deliberately didn't put the first game on the list because I think that open world, yes, it was good, but it did come out at the same time as Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild destroyed it in terms of immersiveness and the open world itself.
And they made up so much ground in Horizon 2 towards it. You're right.
Oh, they did. Just the exploration, the side quests. Again, I think they leaned heavily on The Witcher 3 when it came to side quests and main campaign.
Great call, mate.
And just merging those two together, I think that was much more fun to explore. They gave you better ways to explore it. The climbing was much better and much more intuitive. It sort of made it more fun to climb things. You could climb more. It wasn't quite your Breath of the Wild climb everything, but it gave
close enough.
Close enough, exactly right, without sort of going away too much from what Horizon was. I think they blended what the old one was with what the new one was without copying too much from Zelda. But towards the end of the game, I'm aware and where the story's going, and the game has marketed it as such with that screenshot we can see right now with the pterodactyl type creature that you most likely are going to be able to fly later.
Come on!
Potentially could give you some fun, but I can tell you now I'm quite a fair bit into the game. I still can't fly a pterodactyl, but I know it's coming. And I know that's going to be an epic moment, but I will have to wait till I've played a lot more Elden Ring and other games to do it. But I think in terms of what Guerrilla Games have done with Horizon Forbidden West, it's such a beautiful world to explore now. I think the biomes have got the melding, the way they sort of blend, I think, the biomes together. It's not very abrupt. It sort of blends into it. So you'll see terrain sort of just slowly creep from one to another. It's not quite just like
it's not the Halo Infinite one on top of the other hard meshed.
Yeah, no, not quite like that. So it's just all more organic and it just flows really nicely. And I think the way they pace the different biomes as well is really nice as well in terms of just as you start getting sick of the way the world looks, you start going to camp, the missions and stuff, and the game starts looking different. And now, so towards the end where I'm in the sort of more tropic and beach areas, it's just like the perfect way to sort of sunset the game. And I say sunset when I took that screenshot, which I think we've shown maybe.
I wanted to. I don't think we showed it. Oh, maybe we have.
But it just looks incredible, and it's just such a nice way to finish that game. Palette cleanse from where you've been going with all the bush and trees, and all of a sudden you're in this tropical sort of land with ocean. It's just it's such a beautiful game to look at. The problem with Horizon, I think I find, is that it does still lean heavily on its quest markers and Ubisoft type trope.
Yes.
That after playing something like Elden Ring doesn't quite give you the freedom. But again, different strokes, different folks. A lot of people would much prefer to play a game like Horizon, which is more accessible and easy to understand. I know where to go and I'm going to enjoy a good story, as opposed to Elden Ring where it doesn't hold your hand in the slightest.
Very true. One that does hold your hand beautifully. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the most recent of the Assassin's Creed. And I've got to say, Steve, my favourite to date. You're very much talking about it. It's a Ubisoft game, that traditional Ubisoft open world formula. I would argue Assassin's Creed Valhalla was their best crack at it, their best to date. Use of the markers and the world. As you were just saying, though, Horizon, I think the Forbidden West, I've only played the 6 hours at the start, but you're right, mate. It feels like they've done Ubisoft in that better than Ubisoft themselves did it. I would argue Ubisoft's best crack was this Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But phenomenal thing. And to your point, mate, Valhalla is still calling the horse, and then where is it? I need to hit the button to mount it. It's got that slowdown that you were talking about. But there is new DLC content available this week, I believe, for Valhalla. It came out.
Yeah, so it just came out. It's getting reasonable reviews as well. I think some reviews are saying better than the main campaign itself. But
whoa, do we know how many hours? Has anyone stated that?
I haven't seen how many hours, but I'm not sure. But that's a different conversation. We're talking open worlds.
We are, sorry.
And I don't know. With Valhalla, I enjoyed the gameplay. I think more so than Origins, but I feel like Origins was a more beautiful world to explore.
I would argue Valhalla had the better diverse range of biomes, though, mate, because you remember you started, in the snowy region, you got to the grassy area of England, but then you had the Witch's Hut the 2 times where you went into those fantasy worlds where they totally changed up the art style. And then at the end, they added the River Raid section, which was, again, a slightly different look for the game. I think they've evolved the look in a lot of biomes for a lot of different things, and they've done the festival season stuff, like the Christmas stuff, man.
Yeah.
There's been a fair bit of changes in Valhalla, I would argue.
It is, and I do have to say that in terms of open worlds and stuff and exploring, Valhalla does do the climb anywhere thing pretty well as well.
Yes, it does.
They are almost Breath of the Wild style when it comes to climb anything anywhere for a realistic version of that game. It does it really well.
Yes.
I think, and I mean, they do have you can turn off a lot of the quest markers, and
that's true
with that as well. You've got different modes in Valhalla or Assassin's Creed now that does allow you to sort of have more of that immersive sort of experience, but I don't know if it lends itself as well to that. Like, I kind of get more annoyed when I don't know where I'm going in Assassin's Creed, only because I know the games go for a ridiculous amount of hours and do seem to drag on a bit, so I kind of alleviate that by putting my markers on and telling me where to go, because I want that story as quick as possible as opposed to having to try and find it, whereas it doesn't, you don't seem to have that problem in like an Elden Ring or a Breath of the Wild, because you are exploring, you are having that adventure, and it's not, the story's not so much tied to that, because the story is more about the adventure you're having and the journey you're going on, as opposed to trying to tell a narrative story that's got cutscenes and stuff. So I think that's where Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and then sort of even previous ones sort of fall short in terms of that
mate, great points.
Sort of open world, is because they are trying to tell a concise story with
a linear story in an open world. You're right. Yeah.
So it just sort of lengthens out the experience that's already long, so it can kind of come across as drawn out and boring.
Yeah, that's a great point you raised, man. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. Yep.
So yes, it does do an open world really well, but I just don't think in terms of if you are competing against all those other games that do it better, I just don't think it stands a chance to A, win our standoff, but B, win any other kind of awards when it comes to open world sort of immersion.
That is a great point you make, mate. But as I said, I'm a big long-term fan of Assassin's Creed, and Valhalla, the most recent, is my favourite of the series. I'm really looking forward to whatever they do next. And when the DLC is a full-price game, it's a full $60 for this DLC, so I'm not touching it. I'm not going anywhere near it until it comes down in price. When it's $20, call me and we'll cover it on the channel. But
that's right.
The final one for the standoff this evening, Steve, Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain. Whoa, one of my all-time favourites, and boy, do I wish this would get a PS5 re-release.
Oh, Troy, yeah. The thing is, though, this is an older game, but it does have 60 frames per second and still looks quite good today.
I did not know this had 60 frames per second. Is that a fact?
Yeah, it is, Troy. So it still looks. Well, if you go back and play this now, I did it not that long ago.
Have you looked at it on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X? How does it look?
Yeah, I have, and it looks really good, and I've transferred my save across from PS4 and everything.
Oh, this sounds like a must-do for the channel. Do I must do a Let's Install, do we think?
Potentially. The only problem is you go back into that game where you took off and you have no idea what the mechanics are, because it had so many mechanics.
Right.
This is the best action stealth game I have ever played in terms of gameplay.
Yes,
the only
absolutely.
thing that let it down was the fact that Kojima was not allowed to finish his story for this game.
So frustrating.
And we won't go into all the ins and outs of that, but the fact Ground Zeroes, just even the inverted commas demo that came out for this game,
the full price paid demo.
Yeah, that one. It was cross-gen, cross-platform, a whole bunch of stuff. But in terms of gameplay and stuff, like, I can't remember a better game in terms of actual mechanics and what you can actually do in a stealth game.
No.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5 just hits the nail on every single head.
And a fantastic soundtrack, I'll add. Woo! I love the soundtrack from that game.
Oh, just flying in the helicopters with, what's the main track I always used to use?
I always used David Bowie's track. What was the one they let you use David Bowie on there? Was mine.
Oh, there was so many license tracks, and it just made the game so good. But just the open world, the amount of ways you could attack certain objectives, and use, like, you could use the wolf, or you could use silent, and you could be a sniper, and you could Fulton those enemies.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I would spend hours upgrading my sniper dart gun, so I could, like, just do as much damage to people as possible to take them out straight away, so I could fulton out all the S tier like guys for my base.
It has been so long since I've even thought about how good a stealth game Metal Gear Solid is, man. I'm getting all excited thinking about it. What's the last good stealth game we've had? This might be about it, is it? Metal Gear Solid 5, the last great stealth game?
I'm sure there's been more and others in terms of that, but like in terms of, for me, in gameplay, this was and has always been, since it came out, the best stealth action experience you can play.
Yes, hands down. I love Mike Kojima. It's fantastic. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 5 re-release. That's really what I want now.
It is. I do have to say, though, just the open world, though, yes, you can get a lot of areas that do look quite bland. There's only
that's true, yes.
Biome stuff, but it's not really how it looks. It's just the gameplay and the experiences you can have within that world that just made this game so much fun to play. And like, I spent hours in this game. Like, I haven't looked at how many hours I played. It's probably not going to be up witches and like plus 100 hours at all, but it's going to be close.
I'm totally guessing, but I would guess my hour count was around the 110 or 120 hour mark. I've spent a lot of time as Metal Gear Solid 5. But Steve, who will be our winner for this week's standoff? One quick run down the list again. We have The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, then Red Dead Redemption 2, followed by The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Ghosts of Tsushima, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and finally, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Steve, who will win this fight?
Roy, it'd be easy to go recency bias and just go with Elden Ring, but I'm actually not going to pick Elden Ring.
I love it. I love it. What are you thinking?
I am leaning towards one of the greatest games I've ever played, The Witcher 3.
Whoa, I like it. It's a solid call.
But I've also got Zelda Breath of the Wild there in terms of everything it did for me when it came out as well. But I think in terms of storytelling as well as an open world, I can't look past The Witcher 3.
The Witcher 3, really?
That's probably my pick.
I was going to fight tooth and nail for Metal Gear Solid 5, Steve. How can Kojima not win it, Steve? How?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how he can not win it. It's because they didn't let him finish the game, Troy. If
that is a fair point.
If they let him to finish the story the way it was meant to be finished, I think you can make an argument for it.
Fair point.
Fact that The Witcher not only finished a main game plus 2 DLC, better than a lot of games that came out or have come out since.
That's true.
I just find it really hard to go past The Witcher, and the fact that it's open world is so immersive and like so explorative as well. In terms of it does have everything Elden Ring's got. Like, it's got dungeons, it's got the enemies design, it's got the combat, it's got the magic, it's got the melee, it's got different builds, but it also tells an absolutely compelling story that isn't obtuse and anyone can get into. As much as I do love what Elden Ring does with that, I think The Witcher, it does everything that all these games do, but I think it does it all at such a high level.
You've turned me, Steve. You're right. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is the winner. It is the unanimous consent, crowd-pleasing open world with a horse. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, a winner for this week's standoff.
Who will fight?
Yes. Good work, The Witcher.
The Witcher won it, of course. All right, Steve, now that brings us to our fourth and final door. That is, of course, audience interrogation. Do we have some audience participation? Steve, what have we got?
Mate, we've got a lot of audience participation. This might be the longest segment of the night, the way it's going.
Look out.
So I'm going to go through. We had Sean Games. We've had Bully in there. We've also had, where is he? Matt Cypress has been in there as well. It's 6:30 a.m. where he is. So tomorrow. So we'll wait for some comments tomorrow from Matt Cypress. But
fair enough.
Bully and Sean Games have been in the chat all night. So we'll find out what they've had to say. I think, where are we? Let's scroll down. We've got Sean Games. So he wanted to know what the name of the sword was we were using in Elden Ring. It is the Sword of Night and Flame, if memory serves.
Ah, yes, that does sound right. Sword of Night and Flame, Steve. I agree with you completely.
That is that. Bully says G.E.A 5 on PS5 on sale for the next couple of months. I believe it is. I think it's the first 3 months. It is half price.
Oh, that's why it's $15 on the PS5.
Yeah,
that explains it.
I think Xbox also says it's a discounted price as well. So
they do claim they're 50% off. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and this is funny because Bully also says rumor has it Red Dead 3 will be out before G.E.A 6.
Whoa, look out.
Oh, there we go. He's called what I was saying before as well.
Beautiful.
What else we got? We have got Bully also reading the future of our episode saying state of play next week for Harry Potter Hogwarts also.
Boom, yes.
He's on the money. Where are we? We also have Bully chimes in and says, best open world third person game with a mount has to be The Witcher 3. There we go. Bully,
boom, called it. Called it.
Their all-time favourite, closest followed by Red Dead 2. And then, does Days Gone count?
If it was a mechanical steed.
It did. I did almost chuck it in, but I'm like a mechanical horse, not quite a horse or horse-like thing. It needed to be a living being.
Yes, no. Technicality, and didn't make it.
I mean, you could argue that Horizon also has mechanical things as well.
Oh, well, you could argue it.
They still are technically animals. So
I agree. We'll allow that wiggle room. It's fine.
Bully also says playing Elder Scrolls in third person is heresy. Agreed. I reckon I maybe patrolled those games as a third person, but I think third person.
I think on horseback I was third person, but as soon as we went to combat, definitely first person.
Yeah, and now we also have a couple of questions from Bully to answer. We'll see how we go, Troy, if you're ready.
I'm ready, mate. Go, shoot.
All right, question is, in light of playing Elden Ring, what is the most frustrating boss battle you have played?
Any boss battle in which Steve wasn't available to save me.
There's a few of those.
Every boss battle that I face without Steve.
For me, I'd have to say one of the most frustrating recently, I think Solo, that boss in the Division 2 that we fought together. Playing him solo took me a bloody long time to do and was very frustrating.
Yes.
I also remember not the hardest boss in Sekiro, but one of the most frustrating ones for me because I knew it wasn't the hardest and I was having trouble with it. Was the stupid gorilla.
Well, boss number...
the first phase.
Yes, sorry, mate, go, sorry.
I was going to say, the gorilla, if you kill the first phase, and then he comes back without a head, you think you've killed him, and then he just keeps swiping his giant bloody sword out. So I was like, that annoyed the crap out of him. It's there, my two. Troy, what about you?
Sekiro, not Sekiro, what's his name? Level 2, the club. I can't pass it. Sifu, level 2, that boss. He has killed me probably a good 30 times yet, and I cannot pass him. I'm waiting for Steve to get into the studio to pass him.
Pass him first go. And also, it's not a boss, but most frustrating levels I think I've ever played is probably the water temple in Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Any underwater level is the worst level. That includes Biome 6 in Returnal.
And what else from Bully also? We also have the Souls games have no pause button. What is the most annoying game feature we've encountered?
No pause button is probably the most annoying, I reckon. It's up there because it's
allowed you to pause, which is weird. It's the only Souls game you can actually pause in.
Well, there's that. Currently, there's a workaround as well. You can get a pause on the PS5 version if you go into the help menu and bring up a specific help screen. It launches a web browser which does do a pause. There is a little dodgy cheese around it.
But no, I do. That is very frustrating, especially, it's definitely not wife-friendly, that one, when you get the wind it up and you're like, oh, you can't pause the bloody game while they walk in front of your TV, and it's very frustrating.
More annoying than that, Steve, might be over-encumbrance.
Yes, over-encumbrance, that is definitely a thing as well. I'll give you that one. And I'll also see you over-encumbrance and raise you not being able to skip cutscenes.
Or weapon durability, like in Breath of the Wild, where you get 4 swings and you got to get a new one.
Yep, that too. What else have we got? Slow is specific game-wise. I've got slow walking in Red Dead Redemption 2 in camps and slow looting.
Fast travel where you can't fast travel from anywhere. You've got to be at a specific point to initiate the fast travel. That's the worst.
Yes. So, Bully, let us know in the comments what your favourite thing is, but we just keep reeling them off.
I could go all night on these. Let's not.
Got one.
Go, Steve. Go.
One last question from Bully. We'll do them all tonight. Why not?
Yeah,
we
go.
Can spread them out. But he reckons he's got a plethora of questions.
We'll have to get him in on voice chat, and he can deliver them directly at some point.
He's like, what have we got? When have you kept playing a game long after losing interest just to get the platinum trophy? I'm there with Horizon at the moment. 55 hours in and about 5 to go to get the platinum, even after finishing the story.
Oh, begrudging platinum. I can't think of one. I honestly can't, because, like, you would argue Returnal, maybe for me, but Returnal was such a joy, even though I'd spent however many, 660 deaths or something?
That was more of a glitch that you couldn't get as well.
That's true. It was glitch-related, but I still enjoyed it, so it wasn't even begrudging. I enjoyed every single of those 660-odd runs. The last one was as good as the first.
I'm going to give you a 10 out of 10 for the word glitch-related, for starters.
Thank you very much.
And then raise you for my... I've just literally lost my train of thought. What are we talking about?
Sorry, I had that effect on people. It was the last question. It was, what features don't we like?
Platinum. Yeah, no, that's right. No, so...
No, the platinum, yes, begrudging platinum.
Yeah. As much as I enjoyed Control and getting that platinum, there was a few things towards the end of that game where I was like, I literally had to wait for things to happen before I could actually do the thing to get the platinum.
Yes.
So that was rather frustrating. Yes, it's a really, really good game. Like, Remedy just killed it with that game. But in terms of the platinum, like, I wish there wasn't things tied to in-game events happening before me to actually have to chase those trophies. So for me, more recently, that was probably the most annoying platinum trophy I've gone for. So let us know in the comments, Bully, which one. Obviously Horizon's your one at the moment. If there's any other ones that you've gone for, I know you're a gamer, but let us know which is the one before Horizon that caused you much grief.
Indeed, please do. Now, Steve, I have one question that came in from Discord through the week, and the question is, as we're talking about open world game design, what is Elden Ring missing? Can we name an element that's from another game that we wish was in Elden Ring that isn't? I've got one that's come to me. I've put a lot of thought into this, and I can only think of one, but I wanted to give you a crack first, mate. What do you got? If anything.
You tell me yours, and I'll have a think.
All right, it's the navigation from Ghost of Tsushima. It's the in-world. Now, I know they've got the big glowing trees and everything, but I'm talking specifically about the gusts of wind driving us there. They've got the implication of it by the what do they call it? The grace, the gold line coming off the grace implies it, but it's not the same. So that's the one element it's missing. From my point of view, fantastic game though, Steve. Anything from your eyes that Elden Ring is missing that should have?
Oh, that is true. That's a good one, because the grace of sights do point you in a direction, but once you've moved away from that grace of sight, you've kind of got nothing really telling you where to go.
Yeah, yep.
And I think, especially for players that are new to this sort of genre and stuff, that it would be nice to know where you're going and what to do. And whether you use it or not, that's up to you. So in terms of we could use that we don't already have. Oh, I'm hard pressed to think of anything at the moment. Like
$5 horse armor DLC.
Oh no, you did twig something. I actually wish there was some cosmetic stuff for your horse.
Yeah, fair call.
Like, I would like to change the way he looks. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the whole like elk thing with the antlers and stuff. Like, I feel like it'd be cool, like in Assassin's Creed, where I could ride Valhalla, where I could ride like a giant wolf or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the giant wolf man. I'm there with you 100%. Yes, that would be awesome.
In terms of unlocks and stuff, you unlock a lot of gear and a lot of equipment, like swords, weapons, like any gear, but there's nothing for your like horse. I'm like, maybe we could unlock some cool like just cosmetic stuff. It doesn't need to be DLC. I don't need to pay for it, but if it's in game, maybe I could like do it. So
I'm definitely down there.
One thing that I would like to do, yes, it's just cosmetic, but actually not even just cosmetic. Why don't we have some abilities for my horse here? Maybe he can
talk to us, tell us a joke.
Maybe he could hold X and he could float down hills, so you don't have to worry about the double jump. You still die even if you hit the double jump right before the ground when you're about to die.
It's like jumping in an elevator just before it crashes into the basement.
Yeah, that's it. So apparently it's supposed to survive, but you don't. Maybe we could unlock some Pegasus wings for our guy. Maybe we could ride a Pegasus. I don't know. But that would be something I would like to see, whether we can implement some horse, whether it's cosmetics or even game mechanics where it makes it easy for us to not die from great heights.
I'm down with that, man. That'd be awesome. That will do it for this week's Gaming Enforcement Agency. I hope you enjoyed coming along for a ride with us and kicking all those doors in. It's been a pleasure from my side. But Troy, signing off for the week.
Steve, off duty.
Beautiful work. That's it for this week. Gaming Enforcement Agency. Tomorrow we're back 10 a.m. Wednesday and Friday for live Let's Plays. I don't know what we'll play tomorrow. Could be Elden Ring. Could be Gran Turismo. Could be something else. Steve, are you available tomorrow morning? Could we co-op stream something?
I'm going to say no for now, but we'll talk.
All right, then. You've heard it here first. Steve is definitely a no. Maybe he'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you very much for watching Geek Aloud. Like it, subscribe it. You'll never be...
Oh, that was luck. Hey, that's something.
I love everything about it. Ooh.
Fire splash!
Old Uncle Donkey.
Donkey.